Hello, I'm Gary York, author of Corruption Behind Bars and Inside the Inner Circle. And I wanted to talk to you briefly today about why do female prison staff fall in love with inmates. Now, I've written 2 books, and in both my books, I have a lot of stories about investigations I conducted involving female prison staff, not just correctional officers in uniform, but civilian female prison staff falling in love with inmates. Normally you see me in a suit during my videos, or you see me in my black shirt during training videos, but I thought I wanted to just let you just see plain old Gary York and my thoughts on why female prison staff fall in love with inmates. I'm not a psychologist. I do have a master's degree in criminal justice, but I use that to gain my way into working investigations in the Florida prison system. And over 12 years of working investigations, I've been interviewing a lot of female prison staff who got involved with an inmate and who lost their job. Some ended up with criminal charges, some did not. And at the end of my interviews, I would ask the same question to each one. And it was for the purpose of the investigation and also for my own personal thoughts. And I would wonder why. Why did you fall in love with an inmate? What did the inmate have to offer you, if anything? And I got several different answers. And if you're out there and you're a psychologist or you've studied the human behavior, maybe what I'm telling you now will give you something to think about and work with. I don't know. And for us that are just everyday people that ever wondered what would make someone fall in love with an inmate, I'm going to tell you what I was told by several people. At the end of an investigation, when I was done and it was proven that a staff member fell in love with an inmate, I would ask, why did you fall in love with this inmate, or what attracted you to this inmate? One of the answers that I got quite frequently was, I was lonely, I had no one on the outside, and the inmate would always tell me how beautiful I look, how nice my hair looked. They would draw me a card, a homemade card, and tell me how nice a person I was. And I wasn't getting any of this type of attention on the outside, and I liked it, and I fell in love with the inmate. I was getting the attention that I needed and did not have. I asked a couple of married prison staff, married women who worked in the prison, who were caught having a relationship with an inmate. I would ask them, you're married. Why, as a married woman, would you fall in love with an inmate or even have a relationship with an inmate, even if you weren't in love with the inmate? The answer I got from those women was that their husband no longer paid attention to them. Their husband was abusive. Their husband told them they were ugly. Their husband told them they were worthless. They were being mentally abused at home. Maybe not physically, but mentally. Their self-esteem was low. And most of these women were crying now when they gave me these answers. And, you know, I wasn't the type of investigator that was, I got you now, and now you're going to pay. You were with an inmate. I tried to show some empathy toward their situation. And I would nicely just ask them. And I think that's why I got some of the answers I got, because I spoke to them as a person that was in trouble. Yes, they were going to lose their job. There was nothing I could do about that. And some of the married women told me, you know, that same thing. They didn't get from their husbands what they were receiving from the inmates. And their self-esteem was already so low from their terrible marriage that when an inmate paid attention to them, it made them feel great. A man had told me how great I look, how great I smell, how nice I was, how they wish they had somebody like me. And the inmate was building the self-esteem of this woman or these women up. and they would go home at night and get the total opposite. Also, I had another type of answer from some of the women that I investigated. I had one woman tell me that I loved the control. I could go home at night, go to bed, and I knew that the inmate was not going to cheat on me. He had no woman to cheat with. I felt like I controlled him. So I did have some women, not many, a couple of women, tell me how they liked the control factor. I knew where he was locked up, I knew where he was going to be every night, and when I came to work, I knew he was going to be there for me. Maybe I didn't love him, maybe it was lust, but I had control over that man. So that was another answer I got. Very interesting situation, very interesting type of human behavior that we see in some of these women that fall in love with inmates. We also had another category of women. We had a category of women that I've had to have investigated over the years in the Florida prison system. The woman who got paid. I've had women tell me I'm a single mom. I don't make much money in the state pay. I have 2 children that I have to feed and raise and clothe and take care of. And I was getting paid. So the inmate would have a family member send money to the woman's bank account or to the correctional officer or prison staff member's address in the form of a cashier's check or money order. Or sometimes the women would even meet a family member of the inmate in person at a Walmart parking lot, a McDonald's parking lot, and get paid money. So they would take this money and use it to take care of themselves and their young ones. So this is a very sticky situation, a very peculiar situation that some of these women get themselves into. And it's a shame. And we hear people say they're just rotten scum because they loved an inmate. And, you know, you can think whatever you want to think. Sometimes these women's feelings got in the way of their professionalism and led them to do something that forced them to lose their job or go to jail. So I'm not going to tell you what I think. You know, I'm not here to judge people. I was there to take care of the investigations and turn the investigation in, and maybe this field of work, or definitely this field of work, was not for these type of women. But I'm not going to judge them for the rest of their life and say they're no good. I don't know that. Only the good Lord knows that. So anyway, I just thought I would throw this subject out there tonight. Please put your comments out for me so I see what you think about the situation. And you probably heard another phone ring in the background. Please ignore that. This is just me tonight on YouTube. I'm not making this video as a professional training video. I'm just talking to you tonight to try to see if I can get some feedback from the folks out there on what you think about women that fall in love with inmates. And thank you for listening to Corruption Behind Bars.